Say hi.
Hi.
I'm Amber Rodriguez, and you're watching the Recount Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller. And like always, it seems to be recently, when you work for free 99 and hot dogs and a handshake, you run out of hot dogs and you can't give out handshakes because of COVID. Your team doesn't want to show up. So it's just me running the show for like the 80 millionth time. It is what it is, but you know, your boys got this handled. So let's get this started. This is Now Entering the Ring, which means one thing. We have a special guest for you. This man can be found at Outbreak. You can find this man at PPW, WWWA. You can find us at EPWE, AMP Brawl, and he is the Jaded Angel. Welcome to the show, Draven Blaze.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Man,
Happy to be here.
I'm so hyped about this right now. It's like, you know, there's a lot of wrestlers that you like get hyped about, and for some reason, like the whole time I was like, yo, I know I need to get Draven on the show. And I was like, yeah, I'll get it. And then I was just like, pull it straight. Let me go get this man really quick. Cause he's
I'm very accessible. So,
and what's funny is that, cause a lot of people who like watch the show know that Sicken is my trainer, and Sicken's
right.
well connected. And Sicken's like, you haven't had Draven on yet? I was like, no.
Yeah, I've known Sicken for quite a few years.
That's what he said too. He was like,
yeah.
He's such a good dude. Go talk to him. I was like, I will. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
But yeah, once again, man, thank you for coming on the show and coming to hang out with us for a little bit.
Yeah, not a problem.
So the first question I ask every single person that comes on this show, who is Draven Blaze?
Well, the character or the person?
Why not both?
All right. So the person, my real name is Charles Durning. I'm a father, like first and foremost. I have 7 kids. My oldest is 15 years old. My youngest is 9 months. So, yeah, so variety of ages, boys and girls. So, yeah, so that's the major part of my life there. I live in Jim Thorpe right now, but we're going to be relocating to Florida this year. So I'm happy about that. Something I wanted to been wanting to do again since I moved back up here. Born in Philadelphia, true Pennsylvanian, I guess you could say. But other than that, I love food. Like really, really love food. I love to cook. Mostly Italian. So you know, if you're a man and you're Italian, and your grandparents or your mother didn't teach you how to cook, then you know I feel sorry for you. But yeah, that's the person in a nutshell. And as the character, plain and simple, is a guy who he's been wrestling for so long, something snapped in his head, and he had this revelation, I guess in a dream or whatever, that God used his body as a vessel for an angel to come down and clear the sins of professional wrestling. Wrestling sucks and needs to be fixed, and you're the one that can do it. You're the Jaded Angel. You're jaded. You've been wrestling for how long, and you need to set things straight. You need to clean the mess up. So as a heel, the Jaded Angel is he's got a God complex. You know, God's not here. I am. Praise me. I'm right in front of you. You know, you praise me, you're praising God. As a face, it's more or less of the, you know, God sent me down here to compete. I'm here to compete, and you got to get on my level because I'm the Jaded Angel, blah, 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 blah. So either way, like the character has a little bit of a cockiness to him, a little bit of real self-assured. He's very self-assured. It's more geared, honestly, towards being a heel. The way that the character comes out, and his promos are better as a heel. His demeanor in general is better as a heel. As a face, it kind of like comes off as just like generic baby face. But he really shines as a heel, and that's the Jaded Angel. And a little sneak preview into the future. I am actually starting my own religion under the Jaded Angel, so it's going to be called the Church of the Jaded Angel. And it's going to be it's going to be a mix of a pagan and a Christian church, because I myself am pagan and Christian. So I'm really good with Jesus, but I'm really big into pagan life. So I'm literally starting a church. And it started as a joke because of the Jaded Angel gimmick, and now it's going to turn into a reality because of it.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome though, man. Like, it
absolutely.
has, yeah, it has something so like, it's crazy the way like things like form and evolve, right? And not, I could be honest because I pretty much, I don't know if I've ever told this story like on the air, but like the reason why my name is even nicknamed the Red Dog was because like all the kids in elementary school used to call me Clifford the Big Red Dog and like make fun of me about it. And I used to get so frustrated like as a kid, but then like junior year, like one of my friends who liked hip hop like introduced me to like a bunch of different rappers, and like
Okay.
suddenly, like my whole demeanor changed, and I was like, yo, that's actually kind of cool, like the Red Dog, and like it's gone everywhere with me, and it's like evolved like through
Okay.
life.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So I was like, oh yeah, I was like, that's awesome though. And like I said, just for you, like as the Jaded Angel, like to have something that starts off as like one thing, but then transformed into something completely like, I don't want to say unrelated, but also related and just bigger in a sense. It's
Correct. Yeah.
But I'm curious though, what brought you into the business?
Okay. So, uh, said before, I was born in Philadelphia. So, my dad used to take me to all the local indie shows. Anytime WWF or WCW was coming into town, NWA, he would bring me to the hotel after the shows. Like, we would go see them, Civic Center and the Spectrum. But he would take me to the hotel, which was the Marriott, I believe, at the time at the airport, and all the wrestlers stayed there. And I'd get my pictures with them, and the guy I want to say who influenced my career the most as a kid was a wrestler by the name of DC Drake, because his character was believable, because he made me believe in the character. The dude, there wasn't anything really specific about his character in general. They called him the Mad Dog. DC Drake came out with the dog collar on, spiked dog collar, and his manager would pull on a chain, and he would literally like come at you like he's gonna like attack you, and his manager would be pulling him back. And it just, the way he presented himself coming out to the ring, and he came out the Bark of the Moon uh from Ozzy.
Yeah.
So it's like you hear bam, 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 and you know it's like, yo, some guy's gonna try to bite my face off right now. And he'd come out and he'd be like snarling and foaming from the mouth and trying to bite you. And he gets in the ring and he's calm for a few seconds, and as soon as the bell ring, he's a mad dog again. He's trying to kill his opponent. And it was like I was so scared as a kid by his presence that it literally like it it like made me want to do that. I'm like, wow, like that guy can scare me. I want to be able to influence people like that. But I want to do it in a good way. I want to be like Superman and come out. I'm a big Superman mark. I want to come out. I want everybody to think that I'm the one that can save the day. And like, my envision when I was a kid was I'm the one that's gonna, beat DC Drake and all this stuff. So, my dad bringing me to all these shows, and then my dad wrestled as well as my uncle. And I hit 18 years old, and this past January marks 20 years of me training. Um, I got into ring. I threw up $3,000 up front, started training, and 4 months later, they had me in a match. I knew I wasn't ready for. They knew I wasn't ready for. But it's like, listen, we need somebody. You're a body. Get in there. So I went and started training at Les Morgan's. Noopies is the name of the wrestling school in Elmer, New Jersey, just close to Vineland.
Mm,
So that's how that all started.
that's crazy. And then you said 20 years in the business, right?
Yep, 20 years training as of January, and then this coming April will be 20 years in ring.
Wow.
And it's not one of those like 20 years where it's like, oh, I wrestled this year like once or twice a match, and then I stopped and then came back and did like 2 matches. No, I'm like, once I started wrestling uh, on shows, there was a lot of weekends I wasn't able to do things with school because I was a senior in high school at the time. The longest break I had was when I went to basic training, because I joined the military my senior year, and unfortunately, my knee wouldn't let me see that through to the fullness that I wanted it to. But I was still wrestling. I got out of basic training and I got a booking like 2 weeks later. So I started, just picked right back up like nothing ever stopped. And um, when I got my discharge, it was just the same thing. Like I was stationed in Fort Dix. So we would get our weekend passes and I would go be doing wrestling shows when I wasn't at the station or at Fort Dix. So um, no, there's a lot of wrestling in those years. And I just wanted to point that out because I know there's a lot of guys that sit there and they'll do, I'm 30, 40 years in the business, but they wrestle once or twice a year. And it's like, are you really though? And they pull the vet card because they don't want to do bumps and stuff like that. And I get it, like bumps suck, but like, I mean, I still bump like an idiot. So
That's crazy. And it's wild to hear that because like I just started, like we were saying before the show, like I started in January of last year.
right.
And prior to that, like I was 6 years active duty Air Force.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I mean, like I understand, like
Yeah.
especially about the journey, like especially when you get hit, when you hit basic training and then you go through all that, and then
Yeah.
like wrestling has always been on my mind, and it's always something I wanted to do, and I went through different phases, like I was saying, but like it's crazy to like talk to someone that's like it's almost relatable to the story like me, and then like
Yeah.
I kind of got lost. Like I just not even up front. Like I went from like I left Hawaii, that's where I was stationed, and I went to
Okay.
Massachusetts, then moved to Georgia, then moved to Maryland, and
You're just trying to find your place.
yeah, and then like my wife, she works up here in Maryland, and so this is where her career is right now. So we're locked here, and I've been here for 5 years, and I was like, all right, I gotta find somebody, and then like it most random things. Like I met a person who's like a huge wrestling fan who then introduced me to Sicken, and that's
And then all took off.
yeah. And I was just like, yo, I want to do crazy bumps, and then like I started to realize it's like I get up on like a top rope, and I'm like, yeah, like this shooting star press is it's not as cool as I thought it was going to be. Like it's pretty scary.
I know that feeling, especially getting older. Like when I was younger, it was just like, jumping was fun. But now, like being older, I do this a double spring swanton now, where I stand on the second and then in one motion I jump to the third and then jump right off. So it's like I don't have time to register like okay, I need to get my balance. If I lose my balance, like, oh shit, my face is getting busted. But yeah, when I stand there on that second rope, it's like I know I got to get to the third, and I know I got to jump to do it. It's like, do I really want to be doing this anymore? And then a second later, I'm on the ground. I'm like, yeah, I guess I do.
And that's the one thing that like Sicken has been making fun of me about, because he's like, dude, like you just can't think about it. You just have to go for it. I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
but there's a point at some point where you're like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but you're like, you really want to?
Yeah,
Like I remember
absolutely.
he goes, hey, do a swanton, just crash and burn on the mat. I'm like, is there gonna be a crash pad? He's like, no. And I'm like, no. And then I do it, and I'm like, oh, that didn't. I was like, I thought it was gonna suck, but I was like, hit the ground, like, oh, it doesn't suck as much as I thought it was going to. It's that fear process, like you have to get over that, and that's
Yeah,
so
it's tough. It's tough.
yeah. And I was like, damn, bro, like this is terrible. But speaking of bumps, like I'm very curious about like what's been like one of your worst bumps you've taken.
Oh man. I'm very prone to taking, especially a lot earlier in my career, like simple back bumps. I would take them as high up on my shoulders as I can.
Hmm.
Um, so like somebody giving me a choke slam, instead of landing flat, I try to land on my shoulders so I can get that pop. The whole like, oh my god, he turned him inside out and like just killed him. Um, and with DDTs, I would just try to I would spike them and try to take them differently, and not just like a regular spike. I would do like a quarter spike, so my head's down here, my feet are kind of like you're going for a dive
Hmm.
in the water. You're not completely upside down. You're at like a 45-degree angle, and so my whole thought was, okay, when I take this certain DDT, because the guy was like, oh yeah, sell it, like die, like kill yourself for it. It's like, okay, cool. So I did a 45-degree angle, and the whole premise was I was going to hit, and then my head was going to pop up while my feet are still in the air, so make it look like, my face is all busted and shit. I went to do it, and he held on to my head, and so my head went and hit the ground. And as I pulled, my head had nowhere to go. My head hits the mat. My body, instead of being at a 45, is now going over, and my forehead is still on the mat. So it didn't get the pop that I wanted because he held on to my head. Where as a worker doing a DDT, as soon as you hit, let go of the damn head. Like, let me sell for you, bro. And but no, he held on, and my body went over. My head was still on the mat, and I ended up pinching nerves in my neck, and um, it was the scariest bump that I've taken because my shoulder was stuck up to my ear, and it was like no matter how hard I tried to put my shoulder down, it wouldn't. I would have muscle spasms left and right from my neck down to my shoulder, all the way down my back. And I was lucky because like a move like that could paralyze somebody. If you take a random person on the street and do that, you can concuss them, you can paralyze them. And in wrestling, yeah, we have that padding, but like our bodies are still never ever used to the shit that we take. So doing that scared the crap out of me, because it's like, here I am, trying to make this guy look good, and he holds onto my head, and now I'm sitting in a hospital. Like, am I paralyzed? Like, do I have a broken neck? Like, what's going to happen? Thank God that it was only, like I said, pinched nerves and bad muscle spasms. I had to take muscle relaxers. And another thing about my personal life, I hate taking medicine, any pills of any kind. I hate taking them. Like when I get headaches, I try to just chill them out and just like fight through them. But um, being forced to take medicine for a specific reason, like, it really sucks. You get an infection, you got to take antibiotics and all this kind of stuff. So taking muscle relaxers is just, for me, is just a nightmare. And because it makes you sleepy, it makes your body relax, and it's like that's the only thing they could do to bring my shoulder down, because it's my neck was just so pinched that it just would not go down. And thank God that's like probably as scary as that bump was, is probably the least amount of time I've ever had to take away from an injury as well. So it's like the scariest thing that ever happened to me in wrestling is probably the least amount of time away.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, it's only like 2 weeks that I wasn't able to do anything because of it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think about some of that stuff too. Like whenever we like practice like DDTs, I'm always like, all right, man, just make sure like you try everything you can to protect yourself at the same time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So aside from like one of your worst bumps, obviously being that, what's been the hardest you've ever been hit in a ring?
Oh, this goes back to 2004. I was in a tag match. It was me and a guy named the Radical One, Ralph Ray, and we were going against Ricky Lane and Braden Shocker. And at the near the end of the match, like storyline wise, there was this guy named JoJo. He was part of the Dark Carnival and all this stuff, and he's a big guy, like 300 and some pounds. A big teddy bear in the locker room, but the dude can hit. And he comes in with a chair, and like I knew it was going to happen, and I set up for it, did the turnaround, got hit with the chair. He hit me so hard that I don't know, for a second I thought I was in space. All I saw was white, and it was like sparkles all over the place. And I woke up with him picking me up and then giving me a butterfly suplex. I don't even remember standing up for it. But yeah, he hit. That was probably the hardest I've ever been hit. And we replayed that. We replayed that entire not the match, but that entire, like, him running in, hit me with a chair a few years later. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to get knocked out again as he was swinging the chair? He was much more polite the second time around. So he didn't take my head off. But I had the chair for the longest time with a split in it and everything. I had him sign it and just like, listen, I don't know if I'm ever going to get hit this hard again. And I haven't.
Oh man, no, that sounds like it sucks too. Whole
Yeah.
bunch.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where like I expected guys to hit me harder throughout the years, but it's like nothing just ever compared to that one specific thing.
Damn. Yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
insane.
Oh yeah.
So, we kind of like, it's funny how like we're like cruising through and talking about this one of the worst. But let's say like after the match, right? Like when you get done after a match, what's that go-to meal that you have to have?
If it was up to me, 100% anchovy pizza. But a lot of times it's, hey, let's stop at Wawa. If we stop at Wawa, it's a hoagie. I'm getting myself an Italian hoagie. I'm putting extra cheese and bacon on that. I'm just gonna enjoy it. If we go out to McDonald's, I'm a Big Mac mark, as well as a fillet of fish. So I'll get myself a. I can sit there and eat the fucking bundle meal myself too. Like I don't know if you know the bundle meal is they got the 2 Big Macs, 2 burgers, 2 large fry, and the 10-piece nuggets. I'll sit there and eat that myself too if I need to. Um, but yeah, if it was up to me, if it was my go-to meal, it'd be anchovy pizza.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I can't do anchovies.
No, that's all right. It's one of those things I learned over the years that you either like somebody in your family introduced it to you, or it's disgusting to you.
Yeah, it really is. I know because like my mom is like a huge coconut freak, and she like would. I remember just as a kid, she just like forced coconut at me, and like
Oh,
it's to the point now where people will come to me, and even though I'm not, people will be like, "Here, have some." I'm like, I'm allergic to coconut. It just
yeah.
shuts it all down. I'm like, I don't want to try it. Don't give it to me. I hate it.
So
So I
you're
just
not really allergic. You just
no.
that's your gimmick.
Yeah, it is. It 100% is. I'm like, don't bring it to me. Don't bring it my direction. Don't even give me like coconut flavored stuff. Like I hate it. Can't stand it. So aside from food, but I know like every ring announcer, every commentator, every wrestler, every manager has one of these stories. I'm kind of curious about yours. What's been one of your favorite fan interactions?
Oh God, there, there's been a bunch of them. This would probably have to go back to earlier in my career too, because it really like it put the exclamation point on the I'm doing the right thing here with the wrestling. Um, every wrestler struggles at some point with the whole am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? Like what I do doesn't actually matter to anybody besides myself. And it's a tough process we go through because we have to like it's not necessarily for anybody but ourselves. We do this because we love it. But at some point everybody reaches that point where it's like, okay, am I really touching anybody? Am I doing something that matters to anybody else other than me? And I went through that pretty early in my career. And we did this show for uh, it's like a camp for kids with cancer.
Mm.
It was Camp Dost in Milford, PA, or New Milford, PA, one of the Milfords. And we did this show, and then the year later, we announced that a year later we were coming back, um, and we made like a surprise visit like halfway through the year, but not for a wrestling show, but just to come hang out with the kids and spend some time with the kids. And I volunteered for that because it's like, hey, why not? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with hanging out with a bunch of kids, especially sick kids. It's like it might brighten up their day. So we do the first show, everything goes good. Go do the visit, everything goes good, and we're coming up to the second show, and I'm out there and I'm getting ready to come out for my match, and I come through the entranceway, and at the time my gimmick was straight up I'm a Philly kid who just loves to fight, and the promotion at the time was World Star Wrestling, ran by Johnny Glitter, and so like there wasn't really any direction for me to go. He didn't give us a lot of direction. He said, okay, here's your like okay, whatever your gimmick is, you just go out, you just do your gimmick. It's like, I mean, like, okay, help me, but oh wow. So I go out there, I'm doing my gimmick. I come out to Butterfly from Crazy Town. I actually heard it the other day, and I'm like, oh my god. But I come out to it, I'm singing along to it, like walking like I'm all cool and whatnot. And this little girl, um, she's standing there with a sign, it's like Draven Blaze, you're my hero. And I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. So, I take it, I sign it like right on the spot, and I do my match. After the match, I come back over and she's like, Draven, I got a gift for you. So, of course, I walk over. She made a bracelet for me, and the bracelet said Draven Blaze is my hero. And, like, she wrote a letter, like a 3-page letter about how, like, the first time I wrestled there and came to visit, it was like a huge thing for her because somebody other than family and counselors were taking time to spend with her, because everybody was afraid to be near the sick kid. And I was like, oh my God, like this little girl, like I wanted to cry for her, but like it mattered to her. Like I gave her my email address. I was like, yeah, you can email me whenever. And I used to go visit her, even after that. And unfortunately, her diagnosis was terminal. And there was a email I got maybe about a year and a half after the whole bracelet thing, saying that she was not going to be coming to any more shows she won't be answering any more emails. And it broke my heart because I knew what that meant. They didn't say it, but it's one of those things. It's a wake up call. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, this is a definite thing. It happened. You're always going to have hope that something changes, but it was still like very meaningful to me because here's a girl who, as a child, she knows she's dying, and she's gonna take time out of her day and to make me a bracelet and a sign and write me a letter about how much like I'm her hero because of spending time with her. And I don't think there's anything that can change that. I don't think there's any interaction that somebody can give me that can change that. Like the same thing can happen, but it won't replace that because that's the first time that's ever happened to me. I've had regular fans say that I'm their hero or I'm their favorite wrestler and this and that. You're going to hear that throughout the years, but for someone to write a 3-page letter, or a kid that's dying of cancer, to write that and take their time out of their, they're sick, they're rehabbing, they're medicated, they're trying to be comfortable, and she knows what's going on in her life, and she took that time out to really reach out to me, and it meant a lot to me, and it always will.
No, that's awesome. That's a powerful story too, man. Like, thank you for
It's
sharing.
Yeah, it's a heavy one. It's a heavy one.
No, that is. So, kind of transitions from like interactions. I'm just very curious about you, seeing that you've been in the business for 20 years, as you've mentioned. I'm very curious, like, what advice would you give to up and coming wrestlers?
uh, the biggest thing is something that you learn early on. Keep your ears and eyes open, your mouth shut. The more you speak, the more of a chance you have to sticking your foot in your mouth. um, Someone's giving you advice, nod yes. It could be good advice, it could be bad advice, just take it. Not all advice is good. um, you get advice from me, I could be telling you something that might not fit your character, might not fit your gimmick, it might not fit your wrestling style. It might fit mine, it might fit somebody else's, but it might not exactly fit yours. So whatever advice I give you might not be the advice to take for you specifically. um, Also, enjoy every damn minute of this because like it could be taken at any time. You never know when one injury could set you aside for a few weeks, a few months, a few years, forever. You know, I've seen injuries. I've seen. Thankfully, I've never seen anybody die in the ring, but I've seen close to it. I've seen people lose so much blood that they had to get transfusions. I've seen what I mean by seen is like, oh, well, I was at the same show, but I wasn't. I was, I already left, or I've seen this, I witnessed this because I watch, and it's scary stuff, and stuff can be taken. So don't take it for granted. Um, and the next biggest advice I can give, and I'm pretty sure Jericho preaches this: ego kills talent. If you're the best wrestler out there, try to be better. Always practice, always learn, always train. You're never going to know everything there is about wrestling. Always train, always train, always train. No matter what level of professional wrestling you are, always train. The day you stop training is the day you should die, honestly, or the day you retire. You're never done paying your dues. So just keep on, like, keep that in your mind. That your ego can literally kill any talent you got. You could be the best damn wrestler in the world, but if you got the ego, nobody's gonna like you. You know, you might get signed, but you're gonna have that heat with somebody. I'd rather be one of those guys that has as little to no heat and be mediocre in the ring than be super talented in the ring and have heat with everybody.
No, that's great advice. Like, I think I've heard I've heard Jericho say it a few times on his podcast, like just
Yeah.
that, yeah, ego kills talent, and thank you for reiterating that to us too.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
So that is it for all of our hard-hitting questions, which
All right.
I like to call it that. But we do have the best segment on this show, which is called the 3-Count Podcast 10-Count Questions. Here's how it works.
All right.
We're going to fire off 10 questions at you. It's whatever first thought comes to mind. So we will put on the imaginary timer. Bing! And here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
Raw.
Favorite TV show?
Smallville.
Batman or Superman?
Superman.
I knew as soon as you said it, I was like, all right, this question's shot, but I'm going to ask it anyway. All right. Favorite 80s rock band?
Guns N' Roses.
Hey. Friday night, what you doing?
Eating pizza. Or wrestling.
Those are both fun, though. Let's be real.
Yes.
Favorite color?
Blue. Like a cerulean blue, like a bright blue.
Okay, cool. Sonic or Mario?
Oh, I'll go with Sonic.
Yeah. Favorite podcast?
Obviously 3-Count.
Yeah. Nominate one person you would like to see on this show.
Oh boy, just one. See, oh boy. You know what? My girlfriend, Riley Crow. Good luck. She hates talking.
All right. That's fine. And last but not least, my favorite question asked every single person who comes on this show. Favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Yeah, that's
I
my
use it like the word the. It just pops out.
Yeah, it's such a versatile word. You can use that for everything.
It is. That douche and twat. Like I don't use douche and twat a lot, but like you got twat waffle. You got douche canoe. You get they're very interchangeable.
Yeah, versatile. Versatility.
But definitely fuck. Fuck is the best curse word.
Oh yeah, you definitely need something that you can just insert everywhere into everybody.
And fuck is it? Yes.
Yep. You can even put it in words. That's what I love about that word.
Absolutely, you could.
Absolutely. That's fucking incredible.
Yes, it fucking is.
All right, so that is it for the 10-count questions. All I need from you is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Well, they can find me on TikTok. I believe my TikTok name is under my shoot name, Chuck Durning. I'm on Twitter at Draven Blaze. I'm on Instagram at Draven_Blaze. Facebook, hit me up. Just search Draven Blaze. It's the ugliest smug on there. You can find me on YouTube. I don't have a channel yet, I don't think. But I want to start doing a video cast type thing where I'm hanging out with somebody and talk about their career and stuff. But yeah, you can type in Draven Blaze on YouTube. You see a bunch of videos. Same thing with Google. There's a bunch of pictures and information there. And ProWrestlingTees.com. Type in Draven Blaze or the Jaded Angel Draven Blaze, and you'll see my shirts. I'm pretty sure that's it. Google's a big one.
Yeah. You
can find all my stuff on Google.
That's the best. All right. Well, that is the 3-Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring, and I am your host once again, Clifford Red Dog Miller. And like I said, this is Now Entering the Ring with the Jaded Angel, Draven Blaze. And so you guys know what to do. Check out the next episode and be there, or you already know, just be there. There's nowhere else to be. It's the greatest show ever. Bye. What's going on, 3-Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want you to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3count_pod, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3countpod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give us a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3count podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3count podcast also has merchandise. Oh! At prowrestlingtees.com/the 3count pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.